Hello and welcome to Mastermind with me, Clive Myrie. In the spotlight tonight are Sam Penberthy, a semi-retired social worker. Her specialist subject is the comedy duo, the Two Ronnies. Ian Grieve, a medical writer, whose subject is the Nobel Prize-winning physicist Richard Feynman. Dimitri Samarasinha, a supply chain planner. His subject is the Major League Baseball team, the Toronto Blue Jays. And Richard Kimber, a technology specialist. He'll be answering questions on badgers. To succeed on Mastermind, the deep well of knowledge is a given. But how well can you recall all you know under the pressure of the spotlight, while your palms are sweaty and the clock is ticking? The famous black chair isn't as comfortable as it looks if you didn't do your homework. No problem, I hear our contenders cry as they wait to be grilled for 2 minutes on their specialist subject and 2.5 minutes on general knowledge. We'll see about that. So, can I ask our first contender to join us, please? Your name?
Sam Penberthy.
Your occupation?
Semi-retired social worker.
And your specialist subject?
The Two Ronnies.
The hugely popular 1970s and 80s comedy series starring Ronnie Barker and Ronnie Corbett. In 2 minutes, let's go. Barker and Corbett's working relationship began in 1966 when they were invited to form a comedy partnership with the future Monty Python star John Cleese for what satirical television series?
The Frost Report.
Yes, the American country and western duo who performed numerous innuendo-ridden songs during the series comprised Corbett as Big Jim Jehoshaphat and Barker as what other character?
Fat Belly Jones.
Yes, which screenwriter wrote the famous Mastermind sketch in which a contender, played by Corbett, answers questions in the wrong sequence?
Gerald Wiley.
No, David Renwick. The big band Cliff Clive and the Jivers features Barker and Corbett as saxophone players in performance at the fictional Trocadero Dance Hall in which town in Northern England?
Manchester.
No, Bootle. In the famous sketch set in an ironmonger's shop after the customer, played by Barker, asks for 4 candles and is mistakenly given the wrong products, what items are next on his shopping list?
O's.
No, Plugs. Which future chart-topping singer appeared as a guest star in the first series of The Two Ronnies when she was aged just 16?
Tina Charles.
Yes, in the Agatha Christie spoof Murder is Served, what's the name of the country house in Dorset where the action takes place?
Saltram House.
No, Nag's Bottom. What was the name of the writer who contributed many of the rambling monologues that Corbett delivered from an armchair and whom Corbett praised as a genius from Slough who raised waffling to an art form?
Spike Milligan.
No, Spike Mullins. In a Series 6 sketch in which Barker plays the manager of an ice cream parlour, what unusual flavour does Corbett's customer initially ask for when he enters and orders a halfpenny cornet?
Bacon.
No, Cheese and Onion in Sunshine Boulevard. The silent film star Maxton G. Mildew, played by Corbett, shows Barker's journalist character Clifford Gannett 2 of his old films, the second of which is entitled Flash Gordon and the what?
White Horse.
No, Claymen. Sam, you had no passes and you've got 3 points.
Thank you.
And our next contender, please. Your name?
Ian Grieve.
Your occupation?
Medical writer.
And your specialist subject?
Richard Feynman.
The Nobel Prize-winning American physicist and promoter of popular science, known for his larger-than-life personality as well as his groundbreaking theories. In 2 minutes, let's go. Richard Feynman was born in 1918 and grew up in New York City with his parents and his younger sister, a future astrophysicist who had what first name?
John.
Yes, in 1935, having been rejected from Columbia University, Feynman enrolled as an undergraduate at what other American university?
MIT.
Yes, Feynman gave his 1985 memoir the title Surely You're Joking, Mr. Feynman, a reference to an incident at Princeton in which he unwittingly violated etiquette by asking for both cream and what other ingredient in his tea?
Lemon.
Yes, in 1969, Feynman introduced what name for the hypothetical particles often compared to quarks, which he believed to be constituents of protons and neutrons?
Partons.
Yes. What was the alphanumeric designation of the research group that Feynman led at Los Alamos during the Manhattan Project, which was tasked with investigating the diffusion of neutrons through fissile material?
T4.
Yes, in 1939, Feynman became a teaching assistant to John Archibald Wheeler at Princeton University, though he had expected to be working instead for which Hungarian physicist?
Wigner.
Yes. While working at Caltech, Feynman clashed with which fellow physics professor over their theories regarding the weak force, with the two ultimately co-authoring a 1958 paper titled Theory of the Fermi Interaction?
Gell-Mann.
Yes. In his lecture, after receiving the Nobel Prize in Physics in 1965, Feynman expressed his reservations about what technique in quantum theory, describing it as a way to sweep the difficulties of the divergences of electrodynamics under the rug.
Renormalization?
Yes, in the 1960s and 70s, Feynman acted as a consultant to which aviation company, giving regular physics lectures to its employees?
The Hughes Aircraft Company?
Yes, starting in 1959, Feynman spent a sabbatical year studying genetics, during which he discovered a phenomenon that later became known as intragenic. What?
Suppression?
Yes, in 1954, Feynman reportedly gave the response hot dog on being informed that he was to receive the Albert Einstein Award during a phone call from which retired admiral, then the chairman of the Atomic Energy Commission?
Strauss?
It was Louis Strauss. So, Ian, at the end of that round, you had no passes and you got them all right. 11 points.
Thank you.
And our next contender, please. Your name,
Dimitri Samrasinger,
your occupation,
supply chain planner,
and your specialist subject.
the Toronto Blue Jays.
The only Canadian team in Major League Baseball. In 2 minutes, let's go. In an event that was memorable for a snowstorm and freezing temperatures, the Toronto Blue Jays played their first competitive game in Major League Baseball in April 1977. Against which team?
Chicago White Sox.
Yes, in 1989, the Blue Jays moved from their original home at Exhibition Stadium to a new venue with a state-of-the-art retractable roof, which was known at the time by what name?
The Sky Dome.
Yes, in the 1986 season, which right fielder became the first Blue Jays player to lead the American League for home runs in a season when he hit 40?
Jesse Barfield.
Yes, the Blue Jays finished the 2023 season in what position in the American League East?
Third position.
Yes, when Dave Stieb became the first Blue Jays pitcher to prevent the opposing team from achieving a hit, known as throwing a no-hitter in 1990, which of his teammates took the catch in right field for the final out of the game?
George Bell.
No, Junior Felix. What's the name of the Belgian beer-making company which inherited ownership of the Blue Jays when it purchased Labatt's in 1995 and then sold the franchise to Rogers Communications 5 years later?
Interbrew.
Yes, Jose Bautista's celebration that became known as the bat flip heard around the world was for a victory against which team?
Texas Rangers.
Yes, in a game against the Seattle Mariners in 1985, the Blue Jays catcher Buck Martinez suffered a broken fibula and a dislocated ankle after a collision with Phil Bradley, whom he managed to tag out, along with which other Mariners batter in the same play?
Phil Nyerko.
No, Gorman Thomas. In the Blue Jays' 1992 World Series winning year, Pat Borders won the Most Valuable Player award, playing in which fielding position?
Catcher.
Yes, in September 1982, the Blue Jays pitcher, Jim Clancy, was 3 outs away from a perfect game when which batter from the Minnesota Twins hit a single with a broken bat?
Paul Molitor.
No, Randy Bush. At the winter meetings, I've started, so I'll finish. At the winter meetings in 1990, the Blue Jays general manager, Pat Gillick, traded Fred McGriff and Tony Fernandez in exchange for 2 players from which team?
San Diego Padres.
It was the San Diego Padres. Dimitri, you had no passes at the end of that round. You've got 8 points. And our final contender, please. Your name,
Richard Kimber,
your occupation,
technology specialist,
and your specialist subject.
badgers.
The familiar European badger and other badger species from around the world. In 2 minutes, Let's go. European badgers live in underground sets in small groups, which are sometimes called seats, but are more commonly referred to by what other name?
Clans.
Yes, although European badgers mate all year round, in Britain, most of their cubs are born in the first half of which month, often referred to as the peak month for badger births?
February.
Yes, badgers of the genus Arctonix, noted for their flexible, pig-like snouts, are known collectively by what common name?
Hog badgers.
Yes, the American badger has been observed to hunt cooperatively with what other predator? A relationship that was examined in a 1950 study by the biologist Victor Cahalan.
Coyotes.
Yes, the common name for Mellivora capensis concisa, a subspecies of the honey badger, or ratel, includes the name of which African lake?
Chad.
Yes, what name is commonly given to the small indentations that European badgers create by digging their snouts into the ground to find insects, and which serve as an indicator that badgers are present in an area?
Snuffle holes.
Yes, the only badger native to the Canadian province of British Columbia is an endangered subspecies of the American badger with the scientific name Taxidia taxus what?
Jeffersoni.
Yes, I'll take that, Jeffersoni. What name is given to the special gland beneath the tail of a European badger, which produces a substance sometimes known as badger butter, used to mark territory and identify members of a particular clan?
Subcaudal gland.
Yes, what term applied to many older male honey badgers refers to the distinctive area of hard skin that they develop as a result of numerous bite wounds?
Scarbacks.
Yes, the so-called animal saga by the British novelist Henry Williamson, which includes his well-known work, Tarka the Otter, also includes a story titled after a badger with what name?
Brock.
Yes, the small tree-climbing badgers known as ferret badgers, native to Asia, are classified in what genus?
Melagale.
Yes, which BBC broadcaster wrote the 1979 book No Badgers in My Wood, in which he decried the practice of... I've started, so I'll finish. In which he decried the practice of badger snaring, writing that he was filled with implacable hatred for these barbarous snares.
Phil Drabble.
It was Phil Drabble. Richard, at the end of that round, you had no passes. You got them all right. 12 points.
Thank you.
And at the end of the specialist subjects round, let's have a look at the scores. In fourth place with 3 points is Sam. In third place with 8 points, it's Dimitri. In second place with 11 points is Ian. And in first place with 12 points is Richard. So now it's general knowledge. And if there's a tie at the end, then the number of passes is taken into account. And the person with the fewer passes is the winner. And if they're tied on passes as well, it's a tie break. So let's ask Sam to join us again, please. So, Sam, you have 3 points, plenty of time to catch up. You've now got 2.5 minutes on general knowledge. Let's go. The word low, meaning the opposite of high, is an anagram of the name of what bird of prey?
Eagle.
No, owl. In the United States, the third Monday in January is a national holiday in honor of which civil rights leader?
Martin Luther King.
Yes, what imperial unit of length is equal to 1,760 yards?
A kilometre.
No, a mile. In the 1930s, the American inventor Lawrence Hammond gave his name to a popular electronic variety of what keyboard instrument?
Organ.
Yes, the battles of Vimero, Salamanca and Vitoria were victories during the Peninsular War of 1808 to 1814 for which commander of British forces?
Kitchener.
No, Wellington. The television presenters Anton Deck had a 2013 UK #1 single with Let's Get Ready to Rumble, a song that was originally a hit for the duo in 1994 under what other stage name?
PJ and Duncan.
Yes, the city of Plovdiv is the second largest in which country in southeastern Europe?
Romania.
No, Bulgaria. Which Sinn Féin politician was appointed First Minister of Northern Ireland in February 2024?
Elaine Curran.
No, Michelle O'Neill. What was the name of the Finnish long-distance runner who won 9 gold medals over the course of 3 Olympic Games in the 1920s?
Roger Bannister.
No, parvonurmi. What term, the direct opposite of zenith, is used in astronomy for the point in the sky on the other side of the planet, directly beneath the observer?
Corona?
No, nadir. Which small cathedral city in southwest England is home to the Royal Cornwall Museum?
Truro?
Yes, which of the Bronte sisters wrote the 1847 novel Agnes Grey?
Emily?
No, Anne. Claire Sweeney, who joined the cast of Coronation Street in 2023, had previously played the role of Lindsay Corkill in what other television soap?
Brookside?
Yes, in Greek mythology, the chimera is a fire-breathing monster with a serpent for a tail, a goat's head in the middle of its back, and the head and body of what wild animal?
Lion?
Yes. So, Sam, you had no passes, and you've got 9 points.
Thank you.
Next up, it's Dimitri. Dimitri, you start with 8 points. The score to beat as it stands is 12 points, and you've now got 2.5 minutes on general knowledge. Let's go. The name of what food item commonly served at breakfast is also a word for a symbolic tribute to someone or something that involves the raising of glasses and drinking.
Toast.
Yes, the two breeds of corgi originated in which of the home nations of the UK?
Scotland.
No, Wales. Which author, known for her Languedoc trilogy of novels, was made a CBE in the 2024 New Year's Honours List?
Joanne Harris.
No, Kate Moss. In the context of a car engine size, the letters CC, both in lowercase, stand for what metric unit of measurement?
Cubic centimetres.
Yes, the Viking comic strip character Hagar the Horrible was created by which American cartoonist?
Giles.
No, Dick Brown. The Icelandic tourist attractions Gullfoss and Dettifoss are examples of what geographical feature?
Volcano.
No, Waterfall. What's the title of the 1962 James Bond feature film, which was the first Bond film to be released in cinemas?
Doctor No.
Yes, what's the title of the American patriotic song, sometimes known as Mine Eyes Have Seen the Glory, which was performed at the state funeral of Sir Winston Churchill in 1965?
John Brown's Body.
No, Battle Hymn of the Republic. At the 2024 World Snooker Championship, which player won his first title when he beat Jack Jones in the final?
Mark Selby.
No, Kyron Wilson. In the 1970s, which Scottish port city to the east of the Cairngorms National Park became a centre for the North Sea oil and gas industries?
Aberdeen.
Yes, in the television sitcom The IT Crowd, the computer support technician Roy Treneman is played by which Irish actor?
Chris O'Dowd.
Yes, in 2015, Queen Elizabeth II became the UK's longest reigning monarch, surpassing the record held by which of her predecessors?
Victoria.
Yes, the musical Miss Saigon by Claude Michel Schoenberg and Alain Boublil is an updated version of what opera by Puccini?
Madame Butterfly.
Yes, what name after a physician of ancient Greece is given to the oath that was traditionally sworn by doctors, although it has largely been replaced by more modern codes of ethics?
Hippocratic.
Yes, what New York art museum designed by Frank Lloyd Wright was opened in 1959 to house the collection of its eponymous founder?
Guggenheim.
Yes, what vegetable soup from Andalusia in southern Spain is made mainly from tomatoes, peppers, cucumber, and sometimes breadcrumbs, and is usually served chilled?
Gazpacho.
Yes, Just One Look, I'm Alive, and The Air That I Breathe were UK hit singles in the 1960s and 70s for which British group?
The Hollies.
Yes, the verse play Three Women, first broadcast on BBC Radio in 1962, was written by which American poet who died the following year?
Sylvia Plath.
It was Sylvia Plath. Dimitri, you had no passes at the end of that round. You've got 20 points.
Thank you.
Next up, it's Ian. So, Ian, you start with 11 points. The score to beat as it stands is 20 points, and you've now got 2.5 minutes on general knowledge. Let's go. Which city is the national capital of China?
Beijing.
Yes. What term derived from a Latin word meaning two-footed describes animals such as humans and birds that are able to walk on just two legs?
Bipedal.
Yes. In January 2024, a British Army engineer named Harry Clark was the winner of which reality television game show?
The Traitors.
Yes, the thorny plant Rubus fruticosus, commonly called bramble, produces what edible soft fruit?
Blackberry.
Yes, which American actress stars in the 1990s films Nell, Contact and Anna and the King.
Foster?
Yes, Jodie Foster. The name of what short skirt worn by ballerinas is an alteration of a word used by children in French for the bottom or buttocks.
Tutu?
Yes, no matter what. When the going gets tough and You Needed Me were UK #1 singles in the late 1990s for which Irish group?
Boys on?
Yes, in Don Quixote by Miguel de Cervantes, what's the name of the peasant whom the title character recruits as his squire on the promise of being given an island to rule?
Sancho Panza?
Yes, Buttermere, Wastwater and Bleetarn are bodies of water in which English national park?
Lake District?
Yes, what British weekly business publication was founded in 1843 by a Scottish milliner and politician named James Wilson to campaign for free trade and repeal of the Corn Laws?
Forbes?
No, The Economist. Which football club won the 2024 Women's FA Cup, beating Tottenham 4-0 in the final?
Manchester United?
Yes, what mild Italian cheese is a traditional ingredient of a caprese salad?
Mozzarella?
Yes, in March 2022, the 1915 Chanakale suspension bridge opened with a record-breaking main span of more than 1¼ miles linking the two sides of the Dardanelles Strait in which country?
Turkey?
Yes, the artists Marcel Duchamp, Edward Hopper and René Magritte all died in which decade of the 20th century?
1950s?
No, 60s. When he was inaugurated in 1953, which US president became the first person from Texas to hold that office?
Eisenhower?
Yes, which American dramatist wrote the 1959 play A Raisin in the Sun, later adapted into a film starring Sidney Poitier?
Hansbury?
Yes, in December 2023, a 21-foot-tall bronze statue of which singer was unveiled in her home city of Barranquilla in Colombia?
Shakira?
Yes, which composer born in Cologne in 1819 wrote the operetta Orpheus in the Underworld?
Offenbach?
Yes, in the name of a medical condition, often characterized by swelling in part of the leg. The letters DVT stand for what? 3 words.
Deep vein thrombosis?
It is deep vein thrombosis. So, Ian, at the end of that round, you had no passes, and you've got 28 points.
Thank you.
And finally, let's have Richard again, please. Richard, you start with 12 points, the score to beat to get through to the semi-finals is Ian's 28 points. You've got 2.5 minutes on general knowledge. Let's go. What 4-letter alternative word for an invoice is also a commonly used shortened form of the first name William?
Bill.
Yes, the period of history that came between the Stone Age and the Iron Age is typically named after what alloy?
Bronze.
Yes, in February 2024, which American football team won the Super Bowl for the 3rd time in 5 years with victory over the San Francisco 49ers?
Kansas City Chiefs.
Yes, what variety of pasta, cut into long threads similar to spaghetti, has a name that translates from Italian as little worms?
Vermicelli.
Yes, after his father, Prince George, died in a wartime flying accident in 1942, his young son Edward, a nephew of King George VI, inherited the title Duke of where?
Edinburgh.
No, Kent. Which precious metal is hallmarked with an image of a crown within an octagon?
Silver.
No, gold. Which of the 4 Gospels is the first book of the New Testament?
Matthew.
Yes. In which Shakespeare play is the title character an acclaimed Roman general who describes himself as having buried 21 valiant sons?
Titus Andronicus.
Yes. Which British DJ topped the UK singles chart in 2014 with the song Uptown Funk featuring Bruno Mars?
Mark Ronson.
Yes, the main constituent of the medicinal compound known as Epsom salts is the sulfate of which metallic element?
Magnesium.
Yes, what's the first name of the actress, a member of the famous Fonda acting family who stars in the 1990s films Single White Female and Finding Graceland?
Jane.
No, Bridget. What's the name of the broadcaster and former editor of the Daily Mirror who wrote the 2020 book Wake Up, Why the World Has Gone Nuts?
Piers Morgan.
Yes, what popular music hall song performed by Flanagan and Allen was written by Bud Flanagan about homeless people sleeping beneath the Friargate Railway Bridge in Derby?
It passed, though.
Tivoli Gardens and Frederiksborg Palace are landmarks in which European capital city?
Rome.
No, Copenhagen. What name after a Dutch ophthalmologist is given to a chart used in eye examinations which consists of rows of differently sized letters?
Pass.
In a party conference speech, which UK Prime Minister famously said, "It is time to return to those old core values, time to get back to basics, to self-discipline and respect for the law"?
Lloyd George.
No, John Major. In Greek mythology, which hero freed the Titan Prometheus from the mountain to which he'd been chained as a punishment by Zeus?
Perseus.
No, Heracles. The Fields Medal is a prize awarded every 4 years for outstanding research and the potential for future accomplishment. In what academic subjects?
Mathematics.
It is mathematics. So, Richard, you had 2 passes. The Dutch ophthalmologist whose chart is used in eye examinations, the Snellen chart. And the popular music hall song, Flanagan and Allen, Underneath the Arches. So at the end of that round, Richard, you've got 22 points.
Thank you.
So let's have a look at the final scores. In 4th place with 9 points, it's Sam. In 3rd place with 20 points is Dimitri. In 2nd place with 22 points, it's Richard, which means in 1st place with 28 points, it's Ian. And he goes through to the semi-finals. Congratulations to him. If you'd like to be a contender in the next series, please go to our website, bbc.co.uk/mastermind, and you can follow us at Mastermind Quiz. Join us again next time for more Masterminds. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.
I'm delighted to win my heat. Obviously, I've been quizzing for quite a while.
In 1st place with 28 points, it's Ian, and he goes through to the semi-finals. Congratulations to him.
I started playing in the Macclesfield Quiz League. The Macclesfield Quiz League has people who've had good success. Alice Walker, who won a few seasons back, she's been helping me and giving me some good advice. So decided to go for it, and obviously really glad I did now.
And your specialist subject?
Richard Feynman.
The Nobel Prize-winning American physicist and promoter of popular science.
Why Richard Feynman? I've got to give a shout out to my mum on this one. When I was a teenager, she bought me a copy of his book, Surely You're Joking, Mr. Feynman, and thought it would be a real inspiration. MIT.
Yes.
Wigner.
Yes.
Strauss.
Yes. And you got them all right. 11 points.
Thank you. Maximum score in the specialist subject with 11, so obviously couldn't do better than that. And then one of my competitors scored more. He scored 12.
In 2nd place with 11 points is Ian, and in 1st place with 12 points is Richard.
So I thought, oh, maybe I just needed to be that little bit faster, and yeah, took that to heart and was able to pull it round in the general knowledge.
So Ian, at the end of that round, you had no passes, and you've got 28 points.
Thank you. I'm sure a lot of people are going to be asking about my hat. So in Macclesfield, where I live, we have a local market called the Treacle Market, and I picked it up from there. And yeah, I think it's brought me some really good luck. So I'm going to be going back to that stall and getting a couple more of these hats.